We'll give it about a minute to let all the participants get in before we get started. Hi, everyone. We're just going to give it another minute or two before we get started with today's virtual tour. So just hang tight and we'll be getting started very shortly. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm excited to welcome you all to today's virtual tour of 301 Hillsborough at Raleigh Crossing. I am David Moore and I'm with the Downtown Raleigh Alliance. And today's hosts, we have Lucia Fairjohn and Zach Von Cannon with the Fallon Company. Although your mics and cameras are muted, we would love to hear from you. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, I encourage you to use the Q&A feature. We will also save some time at the end for last minute questions, but again, feel free to ask questions throughout the tour and we'll try our best to get them answered. With that being said, I also want to remind you that if you do need to log off early for some reason, we do record the virtual tour and it will be on our website by Friday. So rest assured that if you miss anything of the tour, you can see it again on our website on Friday. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. And Lucia and Zach, go ahead and take over.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are excited about letting everyone learn a little bit more about 301 Hillsborough Raleigh Crossing, and I'm actually staring out the window right now at the site. So if you hear the cling and clangs of an active construction site, that's because we're almost topped out. So right now, you hopefully are seeing a video, a drone taken, a few months ago. And this is one of those sites that we think is really special to downtown Raleigh's growth as a market. Probably the most highly visible site in town, as folks are coming into town from the north on Capitol Boulevard. And this rendering right here kind of gives you a perspective as you're heading into town. A special design that Duda Payne and the full team helped us create. So we are excited today to kind of give you a real-time look of what's going on. First, I wanted to start a little bit about the Fallon Company. We are based in Boston, over 25 years track record in the Northeast. And really what people most identify us with, as you'll see here, is the seaport. So this is a picture taken from 2005. And as you can see, I mean, it is surface parking lot on the water, so underutilized real estate. And Joe Fallon had a vision, like many in Boston. He was able to put the necessary pieces together to create what is there today, which is the next slide, right? It's called Fan Pier, but it really was the catalyst for starting what is the larger seaport waterfront development. So this is what folks associate the Fallon Company with historically. But today, we have worked hard and kind of put a strategy in place that puts our brand, our offices, boots on the ground, like you see in myself and Caesar here in Raleigh. But we've identified other markets that we believe in for the next 25 years. That's Nashville, Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, there in the middle. B is for Boston. And we've also dabbled in other markets on the East Coast, so Washington, D.C., a little bit of time spent in New York. Also, I've spent some time looking at projects in Atlanta. So we're really kind of expanding our sphere of influence, which is super exciting. But that brings us really to our home right here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So we opened up the office in Raleigh, year and a half, 2 years ago. But the story for 301 Hillsborough Raleigh Crossing actually starts before that. So we're going to walk you through that right now. So having a vision. So this kind of predates, right, the opening of the office in April 2018, and it's really leadership out of Boston. Mike Fallon, his father Joe Fallon, and others came to town, and they kind of looked at the landscape and said, this city is poised, like everyone has talked about, for the better part of a decade. It's poised for growth for all the right reasons: the universities, the jobs, the demographics, quality of life. So for us as a new entrant into the market, we wanted to kind of go to where the puck was heading, kind of analogy. And what we did here is just kind of showing you in red the existing, at the time, had the existing CBD, if you will. And obviously it was heavily centered to Fayetteville Street, as everyone knows, and that's kind of the traditional CBD. But through rezonings, through other developers taking positions, the blue really kind of highlighted where that future growth was going to occur. And if you kind of were to zoom even further out, right, what you start to understand is that center of gravity in our perspective was not only shifting west, but also shifting a little to the north because of the plans that were underway along Peace Street, the city's plans for Park Devereaux, all of these things. So for us, that center of gravity really became Main and Main at 301 Hillsborough, and that's what attracted us specifically to that site. And then this is a marketing piece that's included in a lot of our materials that kind of reinforces that exact story, which is our view that 301 Hillsborough sits at the center of 4 districts, right? So Fayetteville Street, traditional CBD, warehouse district, obviously with the arts, the nightlife, the character, the Glenwood South District, which is obviously exploding, but has always been a hotbed of nightlife and activity. And then the Capital District, which actually extends kind of up, right, along to Peace Street, and then the great kind of local retail that's over there along Person Street. So for us, this picture kind of cemented our conviction that we wanted to buy the land in the middle of it all. And then the other thing that I personally, as a local, want to highlight that I think is unique is we're in the middle of these 4 districts, yet we're on a transportation network, right, that you don't associate really with the congestion of downtown. And that's largely driven by the fact that no matter where you're coming into the city, you're one turn from 301 Hillsborough. So you're coming in from the north, heading south on Capitol Boulevard. That that becomes Dawson Street. We're at the intersection of Dawson and Hillsborough. You're coming from the south, from I-40. You're coming north on McDowell into the city. Well, you're one turn, right, kind of on, any street you want to pick, but one turn and boom, you're at 301 Hillsborough. And then the same thing coming down Glenwood Avenue, turning on either Morgan or Hillsborough, or obviously coming from the east. So we view this as the best of both worlds, which is why Mike Fallon and Joe Fallon moved very quickly when they got wind of this opportunity. You see it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as Zach's mentioning, we really are in such a prime position being in the center of these 4 districts. And one thing that we really love about downtown Raleigh is the uniqueness of being able to have these different experiences depending on where you're at, and having, such an easy commute, not even needing a car necessarily, being able to walk or use a bike to go to certain places in the area, whether that's Publix or Weaver Street Market, which are both right around the corner, are things that are very doable for potential tenants and visitors, and that's something that we're really excited about. On top of that, the green space that is in downtown Raleigh is really close to us. Consider Moore Square, Nash Square, the priorities that have been focused with the greenways, as well as the work on Dorothea Dick. So we are really excited to be a part of downtown Raleigh, considering that green space in downtown. But not just that, we also been inspired to kind of bring that to the project as well. So our 9th floor Sky Park amenity terrace, which we will show you guys pictures of through our renderings, we really wanted to incorporate that feel of being outside in the downtown area. That's something that we really cared about, so that it's not just, having this great 360-degree view of downtown Raleigh, which we certainly are going to offer, but also having this ability to feel like you're outside and having that experience and environment in a downtown area. On top of that, there's a lot of different attractions around the area, and we're really excited that we're so close to so many different experiences and opportunities for people to visit. So one thing that's so unique to downtown Raleigh is that you go to Glenwood Avenue and you maybe go to a boutique or you go to a restaurant, but then you can go to the Capitol District, which is a few steps away from us in terms of the museums, whether it's a history of natural sciences, and you have a totally different experience. But it's all steps away from us, and it's a totally different experience. And that's just such a unique part of being where we're located at. And that includes, if potential tenants, the modern work professional wants to go somewhere after work and grab a drink, or maybe they have something else that they want to do the next day. They have these opportunities without having to worry about the struggle with commute. On top of that, even Union Station is right around the corner from us, which is a straight shot to Charlotte. So for work professionals, that's also great because it's only about maybe 10 minutes away. So really bringing the best of downtown Raleigh with a hub in the center so that people can really experience what they want to experience depending on how they feel because it's all so close to 301 Hillsborough itself. And so that's something that we're really excited to bring as well. And I'll let Zach take on this as well.
All right. So the vision. So as you kind of see, we're going into this as a timeline, and where we just left you off, right, was why 301 Hillsborough specifically as a new entrant to the market. So we're now going to fast forward to after we bought the land, right? We bought the land in 2018. So fast forward a year, we had started putting together the pretty pictures. Duda Payne, again, phenomenal local architect, national architect for that matter, helped us and designed this trophy caliber office building, but we still needed a tenant, right? But we're talking, considering all of our options. And then Pindo, Raleigh's, one of their biggest success stories was in the market. And for us, this was really that catalyst that caused us to be able to accelerate our plan and our vision for 301 Hillsborough. So we were able to get Pindo and their leadership team up to Boston to see firsthand, right, what we are about, what we've created, how we approach placemaking. And I think that really, to Mike and Joe Fallon's credit, reinforced the feeling, the mutual feeling of trust that we could get this done, right? If they trusted us with the lease, that we were going to be able to put a shovel in the ground and hit a delivery timeline that they needed based off their growth plans. So that occurred, right? And we are super excited about having Pindo as our anchor tenant. And then that led us right to the next step, which is the groundbreaking that occurred last fall. So again, we're a family-owned company. We do big things, but with a small team. Joe Fallon is personally involved, right, in all of these decisions. So, from Joe all the way down, came into town for the groundbreaking. You can see this picture here, right? Mike Fallon and Todd Olson, the CEO of Pindo, hugging. It was just a special day not only for us, right, as our first project to break ground in the Carolinas, but also I think for Pindo, right, seeing or realizing this story of, homegrown talent that is now having their name on top of the Raleigh skyline. So this is the fun part that we're talking about, right? How do you now bring that vision to life? So we're going to start with a little video, actually, of the model behind us. So I assume you can hear me if I talk over it. So this is something that we do for every one of our projects. Again, Joe Fallon and the team, we are big believers in creating kind of a tangible and emotional experience. So, while we're studying things like virtual reality, augmented reality, other marketing avenues, we still are big believers in kind of that old school build the model to let people see it. And, before COVID obviously kind of turned things on its head in terms of interactions, we are sitting right now in our marketing center, which has the model lit up behind me, has the big screen TV where we play our videos, has the renderings on the wall. So this is someplace, right, that we invite not only Pindo for project updates, but other prospective tenants, brokers, folks like DRA that are stakeholders in the growth of our downtown. We really try to make sure that people view us not only as a developer, but candidly as a resource for the city's continued growth. All right, so we've gotten to the point of having the model up and running, right? Now it's kind of, what are the numbers, so to speak? How does the math work? How does it all come together? So this first 280,381, so that's the office square footage, right? 19-story trophy tower. Pindo is roughly half of that. They have roughly the top half of the building. So that was kind of a nice running start for us as part of that groundbreaking. Next number, 12,000 and change. That is our ground floor retail. We are big believers, as you'll see, and as other great developers here locally have already created in downtown Raleigh, activating that streetscape experience, making it pedestrian friendly, the sidewalks approachable. This is something that we were very aware of and hope that our renderings come to life in that way in terms of that Hillsborough, Morgan Street kind of corridor that we think has a ton of potential. The 644, Lucia, one of downtown's newest residents in terms of, she's just moved downtown, but folks, as everyone knows, still kind of like their cars right now in this market, in the South in general. So we had to make sure that we delivered an appropriate amount of parking that we hope people will, find alternative modes of transportation. We're going to talk to you a little bit about our design, our intentional design for the bike room and the access. But we did need to build a podium garage that sits basically the first 8 levels before the building starts on level 9. And then this is one of, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but needless to say, right, these big visions have big dollars associated with it. We're lucky to have great partners in terms of the banks locally and elsewhere that stepped up with us to fund this project. We are funding it with our own money, right? That's our kind of level of commitment to this. And then all of this, right, you mix all of this up, and it means that you need a rent, right, that warrants the, I assume that says 41 as opposed to 4, but $4 is a bargain, but it's I think it's 41 is the number if I'm seeing it right. And that's, for all intents and purposes, was the high watermark for downtown Raleigh, right? So that was something that we had to have the conviction in that, the old adage, if you build it, they will come. And that was something that we felt that this market was ready for an experience, a design that, might set new records. And we're happy to say that, everyone that has toured this building to date, I think, recognizes and values some of the things Lucia mentioned. And the rent has started to be achieved by other great, phenomenal projects that are underway as well in Raleigh. So with that, I'm going to, I think, jump over and we'll pick it back up here from the building, and Lucia will walk you through some of the pretty pictures.
Hey everybody, so we're also really excited to show you some visuals now of what to expect when we see 301 Hillsborough. I think these do a great job at really showing all the fine detail of what we plan to offer with this project to downtown and the community, visitors, tenants alike. So this is one of my favorite renderings personally. This does a great job at showing the architectural design and that fine detail of the sleek angular facade of that building with that glass that wraps around. This is taken, you could say, at dusk or sunrise, if you will. And it really does show that light reflection from the floor to ceiling glass that we implemented into the design. Also consider, which we'll zoom in a second on as well, the lobby, the double height lobby. It's such an inviting and warm streetscape in that sense, in that it's very welcoming and invites people to stay and mingle and interact. And it's not just a place, to come to work necessarily, but to really enjoy downtown for what it is. We also have this rendering as the daytime, and this also shows really a really good visual of that sleek angular glass. One great component of this, if you just see, is the two separate towers that are connected. So kind of behind where Morgan Street is on that left side, the Morgan and Dawson intersection versus the Hillsborough and Dawson intersection, and how there's going to be retail, which we'll zoom in a second as well, that wraps around from Hillsborough down to Morgan. And it really does energize that streetscape for the modern work professionals and for people that just want to visit. We also do have that in-building parking that Zach was discussing, and that really was implemented as a part of the design. If you look at the right side of the rendering and wrapped around to the left, where that left corner is on Morgan Street, you can see that we found a sleek way with our architects to really implement parking in a way that really adds to the design, if you will. And we're really excited about that too. So this is a great rendering. This is a more zoomed in version of that corner of Dawson and Hillsborough. If you're looking to the right, that's going down Hillsborough, and straight goes down Dawson South. And this is a really great visual of that double height lobby and those prominent columns that stand there, and how you can see there's so much space for people to be able to interact, and so much space for people to be able to really enjoy being in this area. This also does a great job at showing viewers this parking that we have on the right. And right above that, we can see the 9th floor Sky Park amenity terrace. And that's something that we're really excited to bring as well. The Sky Park amenity terrace is called just that, actually, because we did really want to implement that feeling of being outdoors, as we discussed before. So we really wanted to bring that to life and include that in 301 Hillsborough. It's something that Raleigh hasn't seen before, and it's something that we think people will really, really enjoy as a tenant. And, you know, people can sit, you know, against a tree and read a book, enjoy being outside, but still being in the downtown community. And we think that's a unique and exciting thing that we're going to be bringing to downtown as well. And on top of that, you can see that in this rendering specifically, the glass actually wraps all the way to this corner and down toward Dawson Street, toward Morgan even. And there's actually parking still that wraps around. That's still our parking up to the 8th floor. And it really was incorporated in such a unique way that it just adds to that architectural design and really makes it a prominent piece that stands as a part of, or will stand as a part of the skyline for Raleigh. So we're extremely excited about that, especially with that inviting entrance in the lobby. Now also, you can see there's some retail down there, and that's what we're going to zoom on next as well with this rendering. So this rendering is our Hillsborough Street rendering that shows just what we mean by really having an energized streetscape. And we say energized because we want people that are visiting or tenants or whoever may be in the area to feel like they can stay there and collaborate, enjoy their time there, whether they're coming for a cup of coffee or whether they're coming to, you know, go into the office, whatever it may be. We wanted to make sure that we created with landscaping and with attention to detail this inviting space. So that includes the lighting, the curvatures of the materials that we use, the signs, all that type of stuff. And we really just wanted to make sure that that continuance of feeling invited was throughout the building itself, including where the parking is, of course, because parking is one of those things where, you know, obviously we need it. It's a part of the downtown system and living, but we didn't want it to be, you know, standing out as something that doesn't add to the aesthetic of the building. So with that, going more onto the retail side of things, this is the corner of Morgan and Dawson Street, and this is what I mean when I say that we have that wraparound where there is that continuance of the design streetscape and places for people to mingle and interact. And if you look to the left of this rendering, you can see this green space area where there's kind of this like painting in the wall on the far left. And one thing we really wanted to incorporate was this easy flow for bikers. So tenants that decide to commute via bike don't have to worry about hiking their bike up. I'm sure a lot of us have seen this before where they have to hike their bikes up and bring it somewhere. But instead, we really wanted to create a space where people are able to, if they choose to ride their bikes or commute with their bikes, to be able to just use this as a storage and repair room as well, which we also are going to offer. But more than that, the space is the size of a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. So it's not this little, tight area for people to just shove their bikes in, but it's a new experience that's extremely biker friendly. And we're really proud to have that as well, especially with considering the fact that downtown Raleigh is prioritizing the greenway space and having those bike lanes around us. And we really wanted to incorporate that vision and be a part of that with downtown Raleigh in the way that we designed this building as well.
Hey, Lucia, excuse me. Real quick, got a question from the crowd. How many stories are we planning for 301 Hillsborough Street at this time? I thought this was a good time to ask something like that.
Yeah, great. So there's 20. So we have the ground floor, and then we have parking, which we have labeled as P2 through P8. And then we have the remaining floors up to the penthouse. And we'll have Pendo that is taking the top floors as well, and that's where they'll have their signage at the top of that as well.
Thank you. And then another one came in, since we were just talking about the bike room. Will there be bike racks accessible to the public or visitors, or is it just focusing on the building tenants to utilize that space?
Right, yeah. So this will be specifically for tenants that decide to commute to work or, what have you. So essentially, it's providing an easier avenue for people that decide not to use our parking deck, but instead maybe decide that they want to bike to work every day.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So with that, also wanted to show you guys what we've been talking about so much. This is such an exciting part of our design. Really bringing this to life through our renderings has been something that we've just been so entirely excited about. So I know I mentioned before a few times actually that we really were inspired by the green space in downtown Raleigh, considering Moore Square and how people can really enjoy their time out there. I know there's a restaurant, or I guess kind of like a really quick stop and go type thing there where people can kind of sit and enjoy themselves. And we really liked that concept of people being able to enjoy their time and not just, maybe necessarily walk around and leave somewhere. And so what we did was we decided to incorporate plantings and the feeling of being outdoors on this 9th floor amenity terrace. And that's what you're looking at right now. Now, it's important to know, I think, that really, the renderings show us enough, but obviously this isn't like a peripheral of the entire building. So it's really exciting that our amenity space will be about the size of an office floor that we have, which is roughly about 26,000 square feet. So we have a ton of space. We have both indoors, you can see in this picture, indoor wellness space, outdoor wellness space. So people can kind of decide if they want to take those activities outside. It doesn't have to be something that's just in the building. Modern locker rooms, of course, showers, really updated everything that we could have thought of to make sure that we're providing tenants with those experiences, but that they have a choice, right? That they don't just have to be, in one space necessarily, and bringing that outdoor feel as well to the terrace. So while people can obviously go out and take a picture of the skyline, which will have great views, we'll also be able to, at the same time, have people be able to experience being downtown while feeling like they're outdoors. So that's very exciting. So with this, actually, we have a clip. This is kind of a preview of where we're at right now. And this shows us almost updated construction of the building, which Dak is going to show us real time, which is really exciting. But this is the amenity terrace, currently where it's at. And this is looking from the opposite direction. So if you see here, we can see that we have the conference room space, that we have space for people to collaborate and interact. And if you look over to the left, you'll see that's where that fitness space was on the far end. So there's lots of opportunity for people to decide where they want to be and enjoy themselves whether they want to take a break from what they're doing with work or what have you. So really, really planning on this being a very aesthetically pleasing but also enjoyable place to be. So that's something that we really look forward to as well.
Hey, Lucia, we have another quick question. I think this is an appropriate time to ask. Really excited to see this Sky Terrace take shape in the future. Will that space be open to the public at all with limited hours, or will it be just for the building tenants?
For the ninth floor amenity terrace specifically?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that's going to be available for tenants. And actually with that, I'm glad that question was asked too, because we did want to share with you guys that we're going to have direct elevator access to these floors. So it's whether that's from parking or from wherever somebody's at if they're a tenant. So really an easy transition into whatever people feel like doing in the building. But really a private area, but also a very publicly social area to collaborate and mingle and interact, all while providing that greenery, an example as well.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. So one thing that we're especially looking forward to bringing also is just the fact that this amenity terrace takes it a step up from what we're used to seeing. So we're used to, seeing great views in downtown. We think about coming in on Saunders, for example, and seeing the skyline. And that's something that's very memorable for, I think, Raleigh residents, me as a resident. It's something that really sticks in your head and is always something that I think sticks near and dear to our hearts, something that we're really proud of having. And we also took that vision and wanted to bring that to the terrace as well. So due to our location, we really do have this great opportunity to showcase, especially the business district and really where we're currently at in terms of, what's currently on the skyline and the view sheds that allow us to see that. And that's something that we've really taken advantage of to bring that to people when they come and visit the building.
Lucia, we had a question come in that I wanted to, quickly get at. Today, everyone, we are mostly focusing on phase one of the development, which is 301 Hillsborough, but it's already come up a couple of times. People have questions about phase two. Is there any quick details you can tell us about phase two? And, in hopes that, once it's complete, we can do another Discover Downtown tour about it. So any details you can tell us about phase two?
Sure, and can you hear me?
Yeah.
See you? Sorry, yeah, I'm in the building once. I made it safe, knock on wood. Yeah, I'm happy to answer that question, David. Actually, we are. You're correct. There is a phase two associated with Raleigh Crossing, and we are, don't want to give it away too much, but we are really close. First part of next year, from kind of releasing what I'll call our updated plans for the second part of that phase, which is going to have what we consider to be really a market-leading residential component that will actually play on a lot of the similarities that Lucia has touched on in terms of the experiences, the location, the views. So would love to come back and do another one of these when the time's right.
Thanks for answering that, Zach.
Yeah, so in just a few minutes, we'll have Zach give you guys a real-time view of the project and where we're at currently. I know at this point, the project can be seen from Saunders, really far away. I know that at first it was our crane, and that was kind of the mark that you could use to figure out where the project was from all parts of the city or most parts of the city. But now, as we approached getting to the top and finishing concrete, it's definitely something that stands out from all directions. I know if you're driving, whether it's down Dawson Street or going toward Glenwood, it's something that you always can see now, and it really speaks a lot to the fact that as our facade is coming together, we're having our curtain wall put on currently now, and that's something that's just begun in the last few months. We're really starting to see that aesthetic, that visual come together, and it's really exciting to think that in the future, as time goes on, that glass will kind of bring that visual together and really speak a lot to the future of what this project is going to look like as phase one. And that's something that we're really looking forward to sharing with you as well. Zach, so where are you at currently?
Yeah, so great segue, Lucy. I'm actually standing on the amenity terrace. So let me share my video, hopefully. This works. Share screen. Oh, can you see anything?
Just flip around your camera, Zach. That's all you need to do.
Okay. Okay, I cannot see what you're seeing, so I'm just gonna hopefully have a steady hand. So yeah, so right now I am on that ninth level amenity terrace that Lucia did such a great job kind of showing you the renderings and explaining. But you kind of get a feel, right, of the Raleigh skyline. That you can see what, you know, have all of its glory, Fayetteville Street corridor. And then to the south, you get the view, right? I mean, I can literally see I-40 to the south, obviously the Dillon, what really kind of helped turbocharge the warehouse district and Union Station, and then Dick's Park kind of over there as well. Nice little sunset, it looks like, is getting ready to happen as well. And then the Glenwood South corridor. So as I kind of walk around to the main part of this amenity terrace, I'll try to give you a sense of the scale that Lucia talked about when she said it's almost a full floor of amenities, right? You have half the floor kind of inside the building, conference room, innovation room, lounge, fitness center, etc. And then you step outside and you really have what is in effect another half a floor of that outdoor space that we really worked hard to not just create a hardscape, right? But really a gentle, you know, soft, encouraging area for people to do everything from fitness to reading a book. I think you saw in one of those renderings, and just personal health and wellness, right? Especially with COVID, and kind of the priorities that places. So I'm going to look actually right down onto our little office building where Lucia is sitting, right? So you're looking at the phase 2 site, right, David? You had asked about it. So this really gives you that sense of how high up we are. And this is the first floor for all intents and purposes. I mean, this is level 9. And if I tilt it up, right, it goes up to level 19. So I'm going to pop into the building. Stop me if anyone has any questions along the way, but you're going to get a sense not only of those downtown skyline views, but because we have the luxury, and you're going to hear obviously the noises of active construction, but because we have the luxury of this location of not only sitting on the high ground of downtown, but also having Campbell Law to our east, the condos to our south, you almost have, you know, for all intents and purposes, protected, unobstructed views of the downtown skyline. So that's what you're starting to get a sense of now. You see how the glass has started getting installed, right? Basically floor to ceiling glass in terms of the 10-foot finished ceilings, slab to slab, 14 feet. So it gives you the flexibility, the creativity to kind of create a unique work environment. This is one of my favorite views. Again, lowest level of the office space right here. So it only gets better as you go up. But when we get to the corner here, you're going to realize that we're looking right over the state capitol. And as the trees and the leaves start changing colors a little bit more and falling off, you know, that view looking down Hillsborough at the state capitol, I think is one from this corner of the building that you saw the rendering of Hillsborough and Dawson. I think this is one that people are going to kind of be unexpectedly fall in love with, because everyone understands the skyline view. But to me, let's see if I give you a good shot of it, right? To me, you're just looking right down Hillsborough Street at the Capitol. And as you kind of pan and start looking north, I mean, you're already getting a feeling with these stoplights, right, of the cars that kind of queue up coming into the city, especially in the morning, right, when most of the northern rooftops are coming into downtown. This is the building that sits at this dominant intersection, and that visual, not only of the double height lobby, but just also of the glass coming all the way down from the top, is really going to be a kind of a nice welcome, a northern entrance, if you want to call it that, to downtown. So you see North Hills, right, all the way in the kind of the background. And then obviously, finally Glenwood South, right? The views there of the Marriott AC Hotel under construction, and Heritage, who I know did a presentation, gosh, maybe a couple presentations ago, right? They, much like the Dillon, they really started it all with One Glenwood, kind of pushing that boundary of downtown further west. So yeah, so we're excited, and maybe some other time would love to give folks a view. Pindo has just a killer private outdoor amenity terrace on the 19th floor. So while that's not open to the entire building, Pindo and their employees are going to have access to literally kind of the highest outdoor views in downtown, which is going to, these aren't too shabby on the 9th floor, but on 19, they're going to be even better for Pindo.
Hey, Zach, thank you for that amazing sneak peek of the building. I think this is our first time actually being able to be on site during one of our virtual tours. We had a question come in a while back, and I figure while you're up there and talking about how 301 Hillsborough is situated between different districts, do you feel that the long-term success of the development relies on the vibrancy linked to any of the 4 districts, any more than each other, that is causing, I'm trying to describe this question. But yeah, again, the question is, do you think the long-term success of the building or the development is linked to the vibrancy of any of the 4 districts that it's situated in between?
Yeah, no, look, great question, because I think we attempted at least to lead this presentation kind of with that, but I think the question's getting at, right, which is that view of downtown and its growth and its creation as a vibrant just place to live, work, and play, which again, kudos to DRA and all the other stakeholders for really doing that. We're just playing a small part in that evolution. But yes, I mean, that is what attracted Mike Fallon, Joe Fallon, the entire Boston team specifically to this location when they came to town, was the belief that the vibrancy, as you put it, David, of those 4 districts is only going to continue to mature, right? Going to continue to evolve, diversify, the art scene. You see it talked about the outdoor environment, right, that the city of Oaks kind of prides itself on. So our view is that all of that, not just for 301 Hillsborough, but for any downtown resident, tenant, visitor, all of that is an amenity in and of itself. And we just so happen to believe that we sit in the center of it all. So, we're not making you choose, right? You're not at one corner and you got to jump in your car to go to the other corner and sneak in a lunch hour. For us, we're saying all 4 of those districts are at your fingertips for a cup of coffee or, for something after work.
Thank you for answering that one. You've talked a lot about Pindo being an anchor tenant. Do you have any other large offices moving into the building?
Well, hopefully someone on this phone call has a space need. Would love to talk to them, but as you would expect, look, a little bit tongue in cheek there, but COVID has obviously caused people in a thoughtful way. I think it's to some extent given people a chance to rethink their space strategies, to figure out what's the best for them, for their company, for their employees. We are, I'd say strategic and lucky at the same time that when Mike and Joe came to this market and kind of looked at the competitive landscape, this was obviously pre-COVID back in 2018, we thought delivering an office building at the end of 2021 gave us kind of a window of opportunity that makes sense to kind of be, one of the only games in town. COVID, I think, has given us the ability, because we're a year away, plus or minus, from delivery. It's really given us the ability to be thoughtful right? And how we engage with these growing businesses, with the businesses that are wanting to come to this market, Wake County Economic Development, others, building all of these phone calls as Raleigh and the Triangle becomes a destination, even in a bigger way after COVID. So for us, we're kind of taking our time, if that makes sense, to make sure that, for us, a building and a tenant, right, they're customers at the end of the day, and it's a community. So we're trying to say we already have a great neighbor, right, in Pindo, taking the top half, and we want to make sure that we're thoughtful, and that includes the retail space that Lucia talked about, right? A lot of retailers right now, as you would expect, are, going through some hard times. They're thinking about long-term, short-term needs. So for us, we're trying to say, hey, now's not the time, right, for a restaurateur, for us to put the full court press on someone. We have the time. We're not opening our doors yet. And we view next year as really when we're going to ramp up, David, in that regard.
And correct me if I heard this correct. You're planning for this development to wrap up at the end of 2021. Is that what we're thinking, or maybe even the start of 2022?
Yeah, I mean, we are to so Caesar, Lucia and I's other colleague here locally, this is his baby. I mean, he is he invites me onto the job site, as I like to joke, right? So he has run along with our partners Clancy and Thays and the full construction and design team. They have done in the city of Raleigh, to be honest with you. I mean, kudos to them too. Everyone has been absolutely amazing keeping this high profile of a project on schedule, right? I think obviously there's a lot of things going on in the world this year, and we've been fortunate to have a team in place all the way down to the workers on site that have stayed just attention to detail, and yeah, we're on schedule, right? I mean, if anything, we're a little ahead of schedule, which I know Caesar's probably virtually kicking me under the table right now or something, but we are well on our way to opening the doors kind of winter of 2021.
Well, that is exciting to hear. Thank you again for giving us this great sneak peek of the building. Can't wait for it to be completed. Everyone in the crowd, feel free to throw some more questions in there quickly, but if no one else has questions, I think we can tell Zach and Lucia that they've done a fantastic job with today's virtual tour. Behind the scenes, we had some technical issues, but we figured it out, and that's what this is all about. And we are very excited to see this building be completed downtown. And again, just kudos to you all for the work that you're doing and for allowing us to step inside to the building and see what it looks like. So Zach, do you have anything else that you'd like to cover before we end today's tour?
No, I mean, first and foremost, again, David, thank you, the whole DRA team, Bill, everyone that joined this call, right? I know we just opened an office here, especially COVID makes it seem like, yesterday in terms of this year's social distancing is needed, continues to be needed, right? To get things under control. But we're in this market for a long time. And the reason why I kind of want to end with this is that I hope you'll view us, right, not only as developers, but as partners. And that goes for, grabbing a cup of coffee with someone that, is listening in on this presentation. Someone that wants to pop into the marketing center, right, when the time's right, of course, just to learn more about the project. Someone that wants to share ideas. So we're much like Joe and Mike Fallon have built a reputation, a credibility in Boston, right, over the last 25 years. Lucia, Caesar, myself, the full Fallon team, Joe, Mike Fallon, we value collaboration and input. So we hope this is the start or the opening of an invitation, right, for more dialogue and doesn't stop here. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Again, thank you for your time. But before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors who allow us to host this program. Thank you so much. And also, we are in the holiday season. So if you need to know what is happening downtown, the different sales that we have going on, different restaurants and businesses to support, you can visit our holiday hub at downtownraleigh.org/holiday hub. Tomorrow night, we're kicking off Illuminate Art Walk. We have 14 13 temporary installations that are situated in vacant storefronts, and we'll also be highlighting 5 existing installations downtown. And so Illuminate, again, kicks off tomorrow night and goes through January 8th. Please stay engaged with us. Follow us on all social media platforms. Sign up for our newsletter if you'd like to see weekly updates. And we look forward to seeing you in the new year with a new round of Discover Downtown tours. Have a good day, everyone.